Hi, everyone. Welcome to Terry TV. Holy hand grenades, it's Monday. I'm your host, Terry Hardin, and oh my goodness, Monday is out like a lion today because as I attempted to broadcast to my tribe today, that is my special Patreon page group. And I'm going to pop up right without any ado where you can go join us if you want to. Patreon.com/Terry Hardin for $5 a month. You get two broadcasts, one before this, one on Friday, and then a Zoom call. And this week we're doing two Zoom calls because I'm looking for collaboration on a new pin I'm designing. So, but wow, that I don't need to tell you, or maybe I will as I keep this Patreon page up. Something happened on the way to Facebook, and Facebook decided that you could no longer stream directly from a streaming platform like StreamYard. Okay, if you contribute to StreamYard, you pay a level of StreamYard. You get to put your logo up here. If you don't, it's a really attractive mallard duck. Either way, it's fun. I like the fact that they allow you to practice a little bit. But I can stream directly with StreamYard to you as long as it's off of my own personal page. But if it's a private group, you have to jump through some hoops. And boy, was I jumping through hoops like a circus dog today. I could not get on for a full 30 minutes and I could not understand what I was missing. I was like, what is it that I am missing? Now, luckily with the tribe, I can text them and go, am I on? What's going on? This is still very new to me. And I'm 66. So technology is always a challenge because it's not what I was raised with. So it was a little challenging this morning. And my little heart was pity pat because I had a lot of important things I wanted to talk to Terry's tribe about. And I did not want to give up. I just kept saying, I've got stuff to tell them. I've got stuff to thank them about. I've got stuff that needs to be said. And so I just kept swimming and just kept at it. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're wondering what it is, I don't do interviews. It's just sort of a peek into my brain, which can be rather scary, especially on a Monday. But I am a Disney Imagineer. I worked on Ghostbusters, Men in Black. I'm a pop icon. Google my name, Terry Hardin, and that will help you. 2 Wikipedia pages. It'll help you to understand why I'm even here, right? Is my opinion so important? I'm not really saying it is, but I am about you. And I do talk to you about certain ways that you can move forward in a time when maybe you don't feel like it. I am a rah person, but this isn't a rah channel. I just want you to know that it's a place you can come and listen to things that I say, see some things that I've done, talk to me about history via this thing, and then you can always join the Patreon page for a deeper dig. It's only $5 a month, so try it for a month, see if you like it. This is where you go. But like I said, if you have private pages out there, you probably, if this is the waters you swim in, these technical water, you're a YouTube sensation, which is not me. You have a podcast, which when people say I have a podcast, that this is a podcast, I go, okay. Uh, I'm basically just up here wanting to talk to those who are interested. And if you're not interested, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you unsubscribe. Please, if you decide this is something that's not for you and you change the channel, I get it. I often do the same myself. But if you like it here, if you enjoy it here, if you enjoy seeing and listening to my crazy freeway bane or looking at my antics, I highly welcome you be a part of it and do so. One of the things I will continue to tell you is that you've got to keep on swimming. It's just a matter of when the technology doesn't work for you and you hit that button to go live and nothing happens, you say, okay, what did I do? What did I do wrong? I don't know. Okay. You just simply ask yourself, what the heck? Why is this so terribly difficult to do? But all I can say is you just keep going. You just keep fighting. You just keep uh, uh, doing what you just keep at it. And so today for 30 minutes, I kept going back and forth and going, is the challenge on StreamYard or is the challenge on Facebook? It's a stream key thing. I don't want to get into it. You guys probably know how to do this better than me, but I'm just going to tell you that I'm not a person who gives up, and I never have been. So I wanted to talk to you today about May the 4th. My May the 4th was a day of giving. We did an event that I had invited you all to, as well as many people on various channels. I showed you a pin that I had created for my CHOC, Children's Hospital of Orange County fundraising event, which was on May the 4th, which was last Saturday. So here is the pin. This is the pin I offered to you for $30, and all you had to do was to follow a certain link, go to that link, donate $30, and say, pin, please. Well, you all stepped up, and it's great, and I only have 20 left. So if you want a pin, you still want a pin, and you want to donate to CHOC, you may do so. But do me a favor when you go on this page. I'm going to do two things for you right now. Go on this page and say pin, please, or 2 pins, please. I only have 20. They're $30 a piece. It goes directly to CHOC, which is why this is posted on my channel right now. Okay? Is because none of the money touches my fingers. It goes directly into the charity that is close to my heart, the Children's Hospital of Orange County. And if you want this pin, you can get this pin. There's only 100 available and there's only 20 left. Okay. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is, once you've used this link and you've got to this link, once you have donated, I want you to contact me via my email. This is terri@terrihardin.com, and give me yours. So give me your email so that I can reach out to you. Say, hey, I ordered a pin, so that I can reach out to you and find out whether you want me to mail it to you, ship it to you, which is going to be an extra charge. I don't think it's going to be much, but we don't want it coming out of our pocket, and we don't want you to pull it out of the donation. We want that $30 in full to go to CHOC. We don't want any money coming out of that from our charity, but there will be a small shipping fee if you decide to have your pin shipped to you, which is not a problem. I'm more than happy to do that. I want you to know I'm more than happy to do that. But this is the email that you want to send me, or you can simply write to me and say, I want the pin. Get another one while supplies last. While supplies last. Okay. So first, if you want the pin, you go here. There it is. There's the link, chocwalk.org/Terri Hardin. Now, if you can't remember the link, just go to chocwalk.org, and in the search box up in the left, and it's really teeny tiny, you can click on it and put my name, and it'll take you directly to the page. Just put Terri Hardin, and it'll say Terri Hardin Jackson, and it'll take you right to the page if you want this pin. Okay, if you missed out on this pin, there's still 20 left, and it's all going to CHOC, all right? And then email me with your information, all right? Just let me know how you want to get your pin, okay? And for those of you who've already done this, please reach out to me and let me know your email so that I can get the pin to you. Say, hi, this is so-and-so. I ordered 3 pins. So let's use Vince as an example. Vince of Antiquities and Collectibles. Vince G, he ordered a pin. And so Vince would take a look. He went to he went here and he donated the $30. And then he contacted me and he let me know that he wants to get it. We're going to meet and I'm going to hand him the pin. So he saves shipping. So honestly, just email me, let me know your intentions, and we will get the pin to you. For any reason you're not on a YouTube channel and you get nervous, we will find you. We have saved your pin for you. Okay? All right. I think I have got that into the ground. I have beaten that into the ground. So I don't think I don't think we need to keep going that direction. You all are clear now if you want to get a pin. So that day was incredible. And if you look at the thumbnail, you saw all of those people. So I'm going to share with you some of the photos that were just fantastic. I'm just going to swing through them. And you notice over my shoulder are two of the stormtroopers. One of the stormtroopers belongs to Vince, and this little fella right here is mine. I want you to know that they're very, very awesome. I just couldn't resist. They are over 6 years old. You can't get them. They're amazing. And I'm happy to have it because he's only like 4 foot tall. My husband said, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" Which I thought was pretty clever. But they're also very lightweight. You can see that you can pick them up and put them down so you don't have to struggle. They really are a fabulous design. And you know how much Terri loves a fabulous design, being a designer herself. So I just thought you enjoy seeing them off to the side, keeping a guard on me. And then the other thing cool about them is they do talk. Let me roll back and show you how they talk.
Move out. Let's go.
Pretty awesome, huh? I was like a little kid at the event because these were just so cool to get, and I'm just beside myself that I get to have one. They really are an attention grabber. And I love them. But let us show you some of the other things that happened in our event. And we're just going to go through like a slideshow of pictures so you guys can see what the event was like. And what everyone is talking about was so much fun. And before we go to this, I want to thank all of you who bought a pin and donated to CHOC by getting your pin, which will be coming soon, one way or the other. Because Stephanie Fix and I raised $5,000 to CHOC. $5,000 between two women in about a month. How about that? What do we say to that? Where there's a will, there's a way. That's what we say. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? You make lemonade out of lemons. Sometimes you run into a few walls, but you work to scale those walls. And we raised $5,000 for a charity that's very dear to my heart. And you were a part of it. You were a major part of it. And I want to thank you for all the generosity that you showed and continue to show. And it made May 4th a very special event. So now I'm just going to take you through. Now, I do want to tell you, you can see, here's my little examples of everything, because I'm trying to figure out what do I want to show you first. We'll show you Jabba first. I just want to just let you know that later on, my husband has a slideshow that'll be way better than mine. But we're just going to show you a couple of cool things here, just a little taste of it. And then we'll have a good, wonderful slideshow type video, more professional. But this is just because today I wanted you to see a few cool things. So there's the few cool things that were there. Look at these. These are these blue milk sipper things or blue milk jugs or whatever. We had one left afterwards. So the way it worked was we did buy it now. Stephanie's house is fabulous. We had it at her home and it's near Anaheim. And the thing that was really cool was as you come in the door, there was a table where you could pick a weapon, a lightsaber, or we had staffs that I guess Ray uses. And we had sand people staffs. And we had Evan Hunter, who's with the tribe. He found a blaster that he says was very retro, probably I think he said it was like 10 years old or something that was offered. So he was very excited to choose that one. We had various colors. We had various shapes. We had various sizes of lightsabers. Everybody got a lightsaber. The one picture I didn't get was people walking out with such great amounts of cool stuff. So this was just a great time had by all. I want to show you, just like on the thumbnail that you saw today, this is everybody together. We're all having our pizza and our special cupcakes that Stephanie that were themed. She has a star tablecloth on the bottom, which is very cool. We really thought it was just going to be the captain, myself, and her dogs, and Stephanie, and you all stepped up, and it was just wonderful. And as a thank you, we decided that we were going to offer all of you what we call the prize table. So this is the prize table. And on this table is a lot of really cool items. You didn't have to buy a raffle ticket to get to pick prizes from here. All you had to do was show up. And this was one of the things that we wanted to know, that when you paid your $30 and picked event, you not only got the pin, but you also got to have the opportunity to pull from this great cacophony, if you will, of free items. All you did was get your name drawn out of the bag, and then you got to pick. And we went through rounds until everything on the table was gone. I'm going to show you some fun things here that many people talked about. First of all, this glass right here with Luke Skywalker on it is from Burger King, 1977. Evan looked it up and said it's worth quite a bit. You can see Lando in the background, but you couldn't pick the set. You just had to pick it. Then next to it and in front, you'll see this jar. This were preserves, homemade preserves. And you can't really see it because it's kind of fuzzy, but the official Star Wars trader trader configuration or federation, they I, as a gatherer, have gathered special jams and jellies and substances from the various planets in the Star Wars universe. And I managed to bring some to this event so you could actually grab yourself an official Star Wars jam or jelly from, and it said the substance, which was like strawberry preserves, and then what planet it came from. So that was really fun and was you'll see there's Legos here. There's Uno game. So you just had all kinds of fun things. Here is a Star Wars hat between, there's Star Wars mouse ears next to a cushy ball and a Star Wars hat and a hammer of Thor. It just was a plethora of everything. Everything could be had by all. And it was our way of thanking you who came to the event. And I want to also thank to you that were participating with the pins. And I also want to thank all of you who shared on your social media about these pins with Star Wars people. So I hope no one missed out. I do have, like I said before, 20 left. So if you know a Star Wars person who's going to, possibly be sad because they can't get one of these, be sure to let them know that all they have to do is donate to that link earlier in this video, and they can get one too. It comes to the point of fundraising. When you're fundraising, if in your head you think you're begging from your friends and family, that's the wrong mindset. You want to just make people aware of what your passions are. Now, if you're a charity passion person and you're constantly asking your family to donate for your runs and walks, et cetera, well, that can get a little bit tedious. But if you approach like we did, Stephanie and I, we came up with the pin of the little BDX robots. Here was an opportunity for you to get here. We'll offer you this pin for a donation. So now you're kind of thinking out of the box, aren't you? And being an Imagineer, this is my nature, is to just simply figure out a way that raising the money where you benefit and I benefit, but who benefits most? The charity that I'm bucking for. I have several charities, but the CHOC charity is super special to me. It is I think this is going to be my 7th walk with this charity. And I'm a big fan of this charity. and the kids are great. And the thing I like about this particular chalk walk is that unlike the Disney races, the chalk walk is a 5K. That's all. It's the fun run. Okay. Wasn't fun last year during the hurricane, but I digress. It's a fun run, which means that people in scooters can participate. People in with crutches, people with walkers, people in wheelchairs. You don't have to just be someone who can run. You can use all types of ways to make that 5K happen, and many do. Many in the chalk walk celebrate a child who has passed or celebrate a child who CHOC Children's Hospital of Orange County has helped. Last year there was a 12-year-old boy who at birth had cancer, and he had now been 11 years cancer free, and he was our spokesperson. CHOC always has someone step at the front and talk to us about their journey and about how grateful they were to Children's Hospital to be surviving today, along with their happy parents, of course. And it's always a pleasure to meet these young people and to meet their parents. This kid was a real trooper because, like I said, we had a hurricane last year, and it was a mess to walk through that. And it was a stinker of a hurricane, because at 2:45 in the morning, when we got up to get ready and to show up at 5, it wasn't until 5:05 or 5:10 that the rain started and then just didn't stop and then dumped on us. And we could not get out, even if we wanted to. We could not escape. We were too packed in like sardines, and then off we went walking. The water was coming down so fast that it shut down scooters and caused challenges for some of these walkers, crutches, etc. Because Disneyland became this river everywhere we went. I mean, you didn't make your way to Toontown. That was cordoned off anyway. We don't walk through Toontown. But my point is you know how that underpass goes. That was a swimming pool. That's how much rain. You might as well just, swam across, because you weren't going to walk across. So it was tons of water, very slippery, not fun. But we just kept on going. So this year, we're hoping that it will be dry. It is a month early, so I think it will be. But again, thank you for everything. And then I'm going to share with you some more Star Wars news. The funny thing is, when I make an announcement about what I'm going to talk about on Terry TV, sometimes it shifts. And this is what happened last night. A lot of things came across my feed. One of them is that George Lucas is very, very upset by fans. Let's just talk about fans right now. I know that George Lucas is upset about this, but how incredible is it that fans are able to take something like Star Wars Episode 4, which is the one that I saw in 1977. And if you guys are old enough to have gone to the theater in 1977, the original one that changed the course of the way we think. Star Wars. Thank you, George Lucas, rock star, and John Dykstra, and all that came together, and also never quit to give us a movie that maybe if you're watching it today, you go, gosh, I don't know why it's so popular. But you have to understand that in 1977, we were being inundated with love stories and about to scream, because the only science fiction or fantasy we could find is things like the original Star Trek, Space, 1999 and 2001. And although those are all very, very good and a lot of fun, when Star Wars came around, it changed our lives. If you've ever seen Jaws, where our hero in Jaws, Brody, right? He is sitting in a chair and the little boy gets attacked and the room stretches. That happened to all of us because we had never seen anything like the Dykstraflex camera and the dog fights in the original Star Wars. When you are sitting in a chair and you have never seen anything like that cruiser coming over the screen after the credits roll, you are breathless. You forget to breathe. You don't know what to do. And they just keep like electrocuting you, what with the chess set and the cantina, and it just gets better and better. And you're so happy, you just don't know what to do about it, with a talking droid and C-3PO and the princess and everything. You're just like, okay, certain things may not be perfect, but we don't care. We love it. My point is that many of us, that was life changing. It changed the course. It helped people like myself realize there was a career for me as an artist. And I immediately started hunting down how I could be a part of something like Star Wars. So the original film is very, very precious to us with all of its problems, George. It's a very precious movie to us. And the fans are like me. They're simply saying, George, if you would just release it the way we first saw it, we would really appreciate it. We would really, really, really appreciate it if you would just give us the original version. Now, in George Lucas's defense, he looked at that one as the best he could do at the time. Many of you, if you're filmmakers or you're artists, sometimes your art or your films are ahead of the curve, meaning that what you need, technology hasn't come up with. Hard to imagine now with AI coming into view and CG being able to create worlds and flying and do just about anything. It's hard to think that there's anything that's left to technology to continue to do. But I will tell you, I'll bet you there is. But back in the days of Star Wars, the budget was limited. But even with the budget limited, back in 1977, the technology just wasn't there to do a lot of the things that George would have liked to do with his characters, just wasn't there. So the dewback who is frozen with the stormtrooper on it, it was the only way they could do it. And I love it, love it. And now, of course, when technology caught up, George went in and he redid the movie. He did his special edition. And the fans are not saying they don't like the special edition. We love the special edition. It's really fun. It's got some cool stuff in it. We just want the movie that hit us in the face with a frying pan, so to speak. But George is feeling kind of like, I mean, if I was going to venture into the brain of George Lucas, I would say that George is like, but that was just my trial. I really don't want the art proof, if you will, to be the thing you all want. I don't want the art proof to show anymore. I don't want to see the art proof. The movie that I did in the special edition is the Star Wars I wanted to create, but technology wasn't there yet. I'm adding the latter part. I am not putting words in George Lucas's mouth. But here you are, the fans who are just so flippin' talented, some of you, that it makes my head fall off. That you've taken a movie and changed it back to the original, and you've done it in like 4K so that you can have this movie. And he's wondering if you have violated his intellectual property, or Disney's, whoever owns it now. Hard to keep a track of that thread, right? But I want to encourage George to try. I mean, you don't have to watch it, George, but gosh, I'd love to have the original. I'd love to have it in the original format. I mean, not the original format, because it was like when I got it, it was what, VHS? But I'd love to have the original film. It's just so special to me that it just changed my life. And I got to speak for the fans here. We were all floundering back in that day. We were lost, and we never thought to ourselves at the time, or our question was, where is that door of opportunity where we can get in and we can build props, where we can make things, where we can create things, imaginative things that we have coming from our brains? Where is a place to show that stuff off? And you showed us Star Wars, which opened the door. It actually blew the door off of opportunity. I don't think that I would have been able to work with Bill Bryant and create the amazing Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for Ghostbusters if it hadn't been for Star Wars laying the foundation. I wouldn't have got to play the terror dog that's in the refrigerator in the doorway that Sigourney Weaver turns into if it hadn't been for a film like Star Wars. I wouldn't have been able to perform audio animatronic creatures like in Flintstones and the Country Bears. I wouldn't have been able to do miniatures and big stuff and fly and meet colleagues like Dolly Parton, or meet colleagues like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, or Christopher Walken, or Queen Latifah, or if it hadn't been for Star Wars laying the foundation first. So It's a feeling. It's an emotion. I don't know how many of you listen to Bob Gurr's Bob TV, Gurr TV, or whatever he says, Bob Gurr TV, I think it's called, his channel. I think Bob Gurr TV. Terry TV was first, by the way. But my husband put me onto the interview with Tony Baxter, and it was a really fun interview. I have some tips on how it could be a little more interesting, but Tony Baxter is such an interesting interview, and he speaks of how Disney's rides back in the day hit your emotions more than your senses. So the reason people are so tender about certain things like Jungle Cruise or Alice in Wonderland or Storybook Land is because of the emotional connection that Walt was able to bring to us with the designing of these attractions, and the Imagineers were able to bring to life. Because as Tony Baxter says in that interview, and please check out Bob Gurr TV, because this interview is very, very good. That Tony says that you look at these things and it is the emotional connection that makes you dear about it. You won't have much vested in it if you don't have an emotional connection to it. And Tony spoke about passion and how as a young man he was very passionate and he wanted to work on Snow White, the dark ride. And because he went over to Claude Coates and said, I would love to work with you on this, Claude Coates later probably said, hey, why don't you get that kid Tony Baxter? And in the case of Dragon's Lair, Tony was able to pay it forward because he saw a passionate young girl, yours truly, and he said, you do it. And I got to do it. So I got to design the Dragon's Lair in Paris. And it was a dream come true because I'm passionate about dragons, but I'm passionate about Disney too. And so if you're passionate about something, sometimes it's good to let it shine through. And so that's all these fans are doing Star Wars wise, is they're showing their passion. They're showing how much they love Star Wars, and they want that emotional connection feeling, which they may not feel with a special edition, George. That's all I'm saying. They may not feel that. I know I don't. I feel something. It's not like, oh, no, please don't feel like that. But the original has such deep roots in my heart. And you know that in your Skywalking book, because I saw it 183 times, didn't I? That's a story for another time, isn't it? Yes, in Skywalking, I am on page 3 and I'm actually in the index, and you don't know how excited this young girl is to be a part of that book. Plus, when you and I sat down, George, during Captain EO, and I told you how grateful I was for Star Wars, this is the whole body of work. I'm not a fan of the prequels, but I know I've learned from young people where the prequels were actually their first introduction into Star Wars, how dear they are about it, that I had to stop being judgy with them and how they felt, because those might have been the first ones they saw because they're super young. And so I had to realize that those were the first, but I often said, you got to see 4, 5, and 6 if you really want to see something and understand the value of Force 5 and 6 and what it did. Changed fashion, changed the way music is, changed the way movies are. I mean, we would have never had Marvel and never had all of these other things if it hadn't been for him just beating it down. Forgive me. I'm going to turn this off. Okay, there we go. Great. Okay, I'm going to, people love to reach out to you and talk to you about stuff while you're broadcasting. So I'll just silence the phone. But I did want to talk about that. I did want to say that this is something that that I feel strongly about, and I hope George doesn't butt heads with the fans, because I would love to get a copy. Hint, hint, fans who are doing that, I would love a copy of it originally. So I hope that George just takes it in the way that it was meant by the fans. They aren't saying that the others are bad. They just want both. Like a 2-disc set. I think one fan actually said, give us the original and the new one. And because we like collecting the whole happy set. And he's right. He's absolutely right, that fan. So I wish I had gotten his name, but I didn't. Also in the news today, We have a new Star Wars series that dropped on Disney Plus. So animated, I understand, and I hear it's pretty good. So you might want to check that out. And how many of you sat through all 9 films on May the 4th, which to me sounds like a Clockwork Orange moment. And if you don't know that movie, you should. But if you did it, I'd love to hear about it and how you managed to keep yourself awake, or did you sleep through? Did it start with the prequels and then go into 4, 5, and 6, or did it do 4, 5, and 6 and jump like they were released? Would be interesting to hear that. I know that I would have had a good nap during the prequels and then woke up for 4, 5, and 6, and then slept intermittently between the ones I liked and the ones I didn't like. Just the truth, and I'll always tell you the truth on that. So let's see what you have to say. I'm pretty excited about how many of you have been sweet enough to do like Crazy Mike. Now, Crazy Mike did a countdown today, which I thought was really sweet and cute. Very, very darling. And Debbie reaches out and says hi to my dearest sweet friends. So I have to say that Crazy Mike has been sending me, he is a model builder too. And he does like souped up RC cars and stuff. So he has sent me a couple of his work, and it's been very interesting to watch. And then a couple of videos, which I've not yet seen, Mike, but I will, I promise. Very busy there. So now I'm going to catch up, get all your pins out to you guys. So it'll be pretty cool. Let's see what we've got here. Crazy Mike says he's at McDonald's having lunch with his mom and he has an earbud in. Is your mom getting a little bit upset because you have an earbud in? Doesn't she want you to pay attention to her? Crazy Mike says, hello, Terry, an extra high LOL. Any big crazy car chase you around yet? If not, I can help you with that. No big crazy cars yet. I've got so much I've got to do. And I don't know if I've told you guys about my Roly Crump chess set, but in the future, I will show you that as well. I had to put that on hold for a while for various reasons. I won't go into them now, but it's getting ready to bubble up and gear up again. And I've told you that I'm semi-retired. An artist really never retires, but one thing that I look forward to is creation without a deadline. To me, that is the ultimate joy of retirement, and also travel. So 2 things I want to be sure I do, but it's going to take a little bit because I did 3 charities in 3 weeks. I guess I really wanted to do something else to make myself feel better, and I do. I have to show you that this picture here was a joy for me because it was taken at the charity event, and I've got my smile back, and I'm super, super, super happy that the smile is back. For a long time, guys, I could not get that smile back. And it was very devastating for me to realize that my perky, smiley self was disappearing because of the challenges I was having within my family, and finally the death of my dad, and the constant reoccurrences that are happening with me emotionally. Is it 100% yet? No, but because I was doing something for other people, it's just that my smile is back, and I'm super, super happy about it, that smile is indeed back. So that made me feel really good. Debbie says, Terry, you're doing great. I'm so excited to be here today. And Debbie, I am so excited to have you here and all of you here as you view this. It just touches my heart that you guys take the time and visit with me. And I want to thank you because Stephanie and I made $5,000 to CHOC, to Children's Hospital, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without all of your input, help, and assistance. And the fact that I only have 20 pins left is quite impressive. So I'm super, super excited to share with you. Thank you for helping me raise money for something that's very, very dear to my heart, and for helping me to do something nice for someone else. It's always more fun when you're a group and you're doing that. So I want to thank you for that. Joe Penny says, rah, rah. I'm a live wire. Thank you for saying that. It's Monday, so you never know what you're going to get. Rah, rah, give me T, give me an E, give me an R. Yo, you're so cute. Joe, are you competing? Joe Penny has been with me for a long time. And he and Mike were like punsters, punting back and forth. It was pretty cute. Here is Surfer Girl. Hi, my love. Good to see you. And yeah, just really great to see you. Here we have Yannette. She's with my tribe as well. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, everyone. I'm working right now. Got to keep Mickey happy. Have a magical day, everyone. And it's great that you popped in, Yannette. Always love to hear you. Always love to see and you guys are all saying hello to her as well. Here it says, is the small stormtrooper a brother of Twinkie from Buck Rogers? No. He's still as tall as the other one. I know you're goofing, Mike, but he's as tall as the other one. He's just down here because I wanted to pat his head, show you he's 4 feet tall. And then Lindsay, my husband, says, "Are you a little short? You look a little short for a stormtrooper. Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?" Which I thought was cute. That was pretty quick. So I was ready for it. Yeah, but yeah, they are just really cute. Crazy Mike says $5,000. That's great. Yes, very happy. All directly to CHOC, thanks to you guys and thanks to you because a lot of you read. I really appreciate that you read. Oh, wow. The old Burger King glasses from 1977 and 80. I had some of those. Never got a full set, but we had a few. I had a full set. And a little bit of trivia here. I mean, not really trivia, but in 2005, I sold my entire collection for a bit. Steven Sansweet came down from the Lucasfilm area, San Francisco area, and he helped me price out my collection. I'm writing a book about my Star Wars adventures, and they are a lot. There's lots of stories, and I could tell you a few here. And hopefully it will be available maybe for the next Star Wars. What was it? The Star Wars May the Force Be With You convention that happens in May sometimes. Whatever that one is, I'm going to work to be a guest there and sell this book as soon as I get it finished written. But it is about my antics as a Star Wars person, because as I've told you before, that movie changed my life, as many of you it did, which is why I did a little show called Captain EO with Michael Jackson, George Lucas, and Francis Ford Coppola. At one point, I had the opportunity to sit with George Lucas and actually tell him what Star Wars meant to me and to thank him for persevering and not giving up. He was very gracious. He was very kind and listened to me very, very closely, because I think he was nervous that I had seen it 183 times. He just couldn't understand why would a girl do that. But I was sketching, drawing, and I was writing down every name in the credits so I could figure out how I could break into the industry through this film. Not being a part of Star Wars, because I thought that ship had sailed, but I looked up the people that were associated with it and later was able to make those connections, those relationships that set me upon the path of doing movies like Dune, 1984, and Ghostbusters. This was a great opportunity and a great one I didn't want to miss. So I would sit in the theater and write down every name because we didn't have internet. I stood in line for 3 days for The Empire Strikes Back to get the first ticket and was on camera, covered coast to coast for having stood in line for over 3 days. I didn't do it for publicity. I did it because there was no other way to ensure that I got the first ticket. At conventions where I was cosplaying at the time, just a costume contest, cosplay came later, that word anyway. At the time, I had several people say they were going to fight me for the ticket, so I decided not to have it, and that is quite a story as well. But I am really obsessed with that first movie, and those first 3 movies are very special to me. So I absolutely agree with the fans, and I want to appeal to George not to get too upset, but to look at the endearing love that it is given. We are giving love. We just want to have that feeling again. That's all. And but I was able to tell him what these movies meant to me and to tell him about the collection. At that time, at 6 o'clock in the morning when I was first interviewed, they asked me, is there any, anything that I collected? And I tried to collect everything Star Wars, but I'll tell you, Star Wars cornered the market on merchandising at that time. There were so many things that you could get Star Wars in 1977 that my apartment started to move me out of it. So I decided to consolidate a little bit, and I started to collect the one sheets, and I had a lot of one sheets. And so they were sent to me from all over the world because people had seen me being covered as covered, on TV and radio across coast to coast. I was covered, and I was featured, and I was celebrated, which was kind of weird. When you're tired, you just want to see The Empire Strikes Back. You don't really think about what the deal is. You just say it would be cool. So I'm going to see if I can show you something that you might want if you were someone in 1977 that did the same thing. For example, I stood in line in front of the Egyptian theater for, I guess I got there Monday morning, and it was going to open Wednesday night at midnight. And I fought. I had all kinds of challenges I had to do, which I won't go into now. But I thought, if you're someone who went and saw that first screening and you were in that line, I'm going to show you something, because I think, and the reason I want to show it to you is because you may want to track this down. So let me see if I can find it for you. It's going to take a little bit of looking, but it's important since we're on this whole Star Wars thing. Let me see if I can just find it. Here we go. I'm looking at certain. I do lots of talks and presentations, but they cover a wide variety of subjects. If you Google Terri Hardin, you will see that I've done a lot in my career, so much so that I don't even believe that it is that I've done all that I've done, and I'm very, very fortunate. But why do I tell you this? Because a lot of times, guys, it's your own voice that keeps you from going through to that door of opportunity. And that door of opportunity doesn't stay open for very long. So my advice to you is jump through that door and figure out after it closes how to do it. Just a thought. But that's why I continue to say over and over to you again that it's so important to here we go. So here are a few things back in the day that I did in 77. I hope you're interested in seeing them. In 1977, I got really excited about the movie Star Wars. I've already said that. But then while I was sitting and seeing the movie, first week I saw the movie 67 times. And then I went to London for 2 months. I went to Europe for 2 months and backpacked across Europe. So I wasn't around for 2 months, but 67 times that first week. I'll tell you about how I did it in another time. But these are some sketches I did while sitting in the theater watching the movie over and over and over again. So this is a technique that, I do. In 1980, after seeing Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite film, along with many of you, I decided to make a Yoda. And if this looks familiar to you, if in 1970 through the 80s you went and you saw me perform this, you know that I won a lot of awards. I made everything you're looking at. My hat, my puppet, my gun belt. The only thing that I did not make was a blaster. My friend made the blaster for me. But I took a flash attachment to the Graflex, I think it is, camera. Joe, help me out here. And I made the lightsaber, which you see on my hip there. So I made this whole outfit, and I called myself the Other Hope. And I did these cosplay presentations, and I won a lot of awards and became quite known. Here I am sitting in between, just having a rest. I'm not sure what's on my wrist. I was going to say maybe I think it's a bit early, but you can see what it took to do my hair, just saying. And this is at a convention as I'm waiting to get there. But here's what I really wanted to show you. I wanted to show you this book called A Galaxy All Their Own. If you were someone who was standing in line in 1970, in 1980 for Empire Strikes Back, and you stood for 3 days to see it, that's what I'm talking about, is the Empire Strikes Back screening. It wasn't the Star Wars screening, it was the Empire Strikes Back screening. These are all people who were part of that event. And that red circle you see there is me actually being interviewed in line at that time. Here's something you need to get. This is put out by the LA Times. It might be out of print, but it might not be. And in this book, I am featured. There's my name. There's the date, May 22nd, 1980. Here I am crying. You can see my hat is lifting up because, moisture always makes it a different deal. And it's a 3-page spread. So, oh yeah, here, good. Okay, I'm just double checking. Yes, there we go. There we go. This too is one. So here I'm just showing how this spread is in this book, and I'm at an event sharing with people so that they can see, and then I sign that book. But most importantly, if you were out there with me, you might be in this book. So you might consider, you might take a consideration. If you want to find it, I just wanted you to know that that's a possibility. You could find it if you want, right? So that's the cool thing about it. So let's see. The Academy Museum had the Dijksterflex and the Millennium Falcon model on display. Not sure if it was the original Dijksterflex camera or a rebuilt one, but it was cool. Yeah, the Dijksterflex camera is something else. And I did have the opportunity to work with John Dykstra as well. And what a lovely experience to have, to be able to be a part of some of his world as well. And that's why I'm saying go through that door of opportunity. Don't let your brain say, can I, should I, woulda, coulda. Just kick yourself and go through there and figure it out afterwards. That's what happened with me in the Dragon's Lair. When Tony Baxter said, you do it, I just said, okay. And through that door I went. So, and here is Joe saying, release the original theatrical cuts. It's just because we like that feeling, George. It's nothing against you, and it's not trying to make you feel bad because you think the movie is inferior. It was because technology wasn't caught up yet. But that's okay. We get it. We get it. In fact, we love it more because technology hasn't caught up yet. If you look at War of the Worlds or Earth versus the Flying Saucers, they still hold up today. And there was no CG. Okay. A lot of these effects were done in camera. I love Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Those flying saucers were made for Ray Harryhausen by his father. His father turned those spaceships on a lathe for him to animate. I mean, it will bring tears to your eyes how amazing this film is. It's in black and white, and you're looking at it, and it's live action with stop motion, and it just blows you away. Yes, there's a couple of sequences where you go, oh, I see how they did that, or whatever you want to say. But you need to realize there were no such things as a computer or CG. They were far into the future. This all had to be done. You had to be clever. You had to say, how do I get what I want with what I have? And technology didn't stop them, just like technology didn't stop you, George. You did it. You got with someone like John. You came up with this cool thing. Yes, it was a drag, but we know what you went through to create Star Wars. We know the work you went through to make it happen. That's what makes it special to us. And then when you did the special edition and you fixed everything because technology had caught up, that was cool too. See, we're not saying yay, blah, yay, blah. We're not saying that. We're just saying we want 2 discs. Right? This is what Joe is. We want, please. Other filmmakers like Steven Spielberg, and especially George's mentor, Francis Ford Coppola, has made revisions to their films, but still leave their original edits available to the public. Yes, that is absolutely true, Joe. And I have a Close Encounters Laserdisc that I absolutely love. Steven Spielberg signed it for me because he was a part of the Flintstones. And so was I. So he came, and not only did he give me a great crew jacket, but he signed my Close Encounters uh, special edition Laserdisc set. And in that set, you could actually program your Laserdisc machine to include sequences that weren't in the original film. So you saw the original Close Encounters, which you loved. You went, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then you were able to put in things that you liked. Or so we took the original film and we inserted the desert sequence where the ship is in the desert, because in the original film it wasn't there. They cut it out. And we really liked that. So my favorite version is the original version where Roy doesn't go up in the ship. Well, he goes up in the ship, but we don't see what's going on inside. My imagination was just better. I think your imagination was better too in that special edition. But I just wanted to see the ship in the sand. I missed that from the original. So you could plug it in. You could just program your Laserdisc and the Laserdisc would respond and it would put that scene in for you. So it was super cool, and I still have it and I still love it. And it is a great, great thing. And I wish that, I don't think George Lucas has to go that far, because honestly, we want to see the first Star Wars film on disc 1, and then we want to see the second, the special edition. We would actually, honestly, George, we'd like to look at both just to see what you did to fix it up. I mean, we know what it is, but it's kind of nice to kind of flash between the two of them. We love making ofs, right, guys? Well said, Joe. I have copies of the specialized editions. I'm surprised you don't. I have one, but VHS. Don't have it on DVD. It wasn't released on DVD to my knowledge. So, and if it was, I missed it. But no, I don't have it. Yeah, it's a shame, but I don't have it. Don't have the original Star Wars. Might find it on VHS. Yeah, see, VHS. See? I have a friend in the UK who has a podcast called Filmentaries, and he's interviewed many of the people who were involved in the Star Wars films and other films. I will tell him about you and your work. I would have him contact you about possible phone interview, Zoom call interview for a podcast. Well, thank you. I'd love that. I'd love to do it. I'm different because I wasn't ever involved in the actual Star Wars films, but I certainly was a fan. I was a young girl who it just changed my life. I have to tell you, it just changed my life. And when the LA Times came out with that book, I grabbed about 10, 20 copies because I wanted people to see it. I wanted people to see what it was like before, you could just go online and get your ticket, and there's an article, which I don't know if I could find quickly enough, but there was an article that somebody sent me, a newspaper article, and I have it in my things. I just don't know where I have it, but I'll try and dig it up and show it to you, where it shows how people were lining up at other theaters, like Kurt Thatcher, who I didn't meet until years later at during Dinosaurs, the TV show with the Henson Company and Disney. And so I'm doing Dinosaurs and I see Kurt and we hit it off. And we're not, you know how you got that friend where you just sort of, it's electric? And it was. Kurt is just an amazingly gregarious person, but there was something more, just two kindred spirits kind of a thing. I hope I'm not talking at a turn here, Kurt. But when I got the article that talks about me standing in line for so long at the Chinese theater, at the Egyptian theater, there's an article. The article then goes to the Century City area where Kurt Thatcher is standing in line. So there we are, not knowing each other, doing the same thing at the same time back in 1980 to see Empire Strikes Back. And I'm sorry, that's just really cool. That's just really, really cool. I sent him the article and said, Kurt, look at this, before we even knew each other. And it was super, super cool. But thank you, Joe. That's very kind of you. I would really appreciate that. After a long night out, are you dragging yourself home? Always dragging myself home. Always. Anything that has to do with drags and bike. Absolutely. He says, I would do that, Terry. Send you an email saying, made you look during your live stream. Yep, made me look. It's because my mom is in a convalescent hospital, and sometimes that's the only way they can reach me. So I usually leave the bell on. But this time I think I'm cool. I'll be okay. I've come to enjoy the prequels in the years since. The best one, episode 3, but they have their good points. They all have their good points. They didn't capture my imagination like the original, but then again, I was a lot older when I saw them, so this could be why. I think because if you're someone like me who really dug deep into the Star Wars world, these 3 prequels just threw the baby out with the bathwater. In the first one, the first of the prequels, Darth Maul is obviously so much stronger and more powerful than Obi-Wan that you know that Obi-Wan wins because of the sequel. So you don't want to be thinking that way. That's kind of the thing that bothered me about the prequels was that I knew what happened in 4, 5, and 6. So I wanted to make sure that 1, 2, and 3 butted up against 4, 5, and 6, and they don't really. And that was hard for me to deal with. I really didn't like it. Like what was it, the second one that just went on forever? And you go, I know what happens to her and why isn't it happening? Because if you don't fix that, then the third film, in order to connect with the fourth one, is going to be 5 hours long. And no. But if you're a young person and your parents are showing you the prequels first, you have no knowledge of 4, 5, and 6. And probably when you get to 4, 5, and 6, you're like, what? Huh? I don't understand. Why does it not sync up? So that's me. That's me. I had an extensive collection, guys. I had the treatments to all 12 of George Lucas's books, where he chose number 4 to be the one that he kicked off the Star Wars universe with. So I knew the premises of all the ones that he was entertaining. So it was knowledge, and I think if he had just stuck to that, it would have been better. But whatever. But I agree with you, Joe. I can watch him okay. I can't watch the middle one, and I really can't watch the third one, where Yoda bounces around like a rubber ball. But that again is another thing. Speaking to Frank Oz and him saying, look, I'm not going to wedge myself between a bunch of things like a puppeteer. I'm too old for that. And so he voiced a animated Yoda, and I miss that. So, Debbie says she will order pin in a couple of days and she would love to join Patreon. I would love to have you, Debbie. Try it out for a month. And if it's for you, your voice needs to be heard. We'd love to have you. Mike says, how am I? I am good. I had a great, you probably heard, Mike, that we did well with the CHOC event. So anyway, I just thought this thing with George was something that I wanted to share, as well as the day of giving on May the 4th. It was probably one of the best May the 4th, because what better than to raise things for, raise money for other people. You have a beautiful, thank you, Debbie. That's so sweet of you. And thank you, Mike. Diane says the Bob Gurr Show, not Bob TV. Yeah. Thank you for telling us about the Tony Baxter interview with Bob Gurr. I will watch it. Yeah, it's fun. Now it's a little slow to start, okay, because it's a little hard getting off the ground. But boy, once these two guys get rolling, it's pretty good. And it's really nice to have two legends sitting there talking back and forth about certain things that affected them and how they feel. And Tony's right. The passion, the ability to step back and say, this is what it needs. I say is an Imagineering trait. I don't think it's unique to any few group of people except for Imagineers. We just all seem to have this ability, no matter what it is. We see it before it happens, and we're able to make it work. So I've always been able to do that. I've always been able to help people with their desire to do what they love, and how can they get themselves known and seen out there, and how can they make it start to yield for them, so that they might quit the job that they don't like and do the job that they do. It's a superpower I have. I acknowledge it. And a lot of times on the tribe, this is what we talk about. So there you go. But the Bob Gurr Show, not Bob TV. Yes, Bob Gurr Show. I think it's really fun to see the guests that are on there. You know, I really enjoyed that interview, and I hope you will check it out. Check it out. He is not up to 5 cents now. Um, Susan says his Garner Holt interview should be good too. I have to reach out to him and say, needs to interview me, because you want to see something that's energetic. It would be interviewing me. So I have to reach out to him and say, anytime you need a guest, reach out to me as well. It would be a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe he would come on here. I don't have a lot of interviews, but if he wants to come on here and talk to you guys, he could do that too if he wishes. Diane, I posted on my Facebook page classic Disneyland and classic Disney movies and TV. Well, how about that? And Debbie says the stormtroopers are my size, 4 feet 2. Yes, they can be your, they are also, they can be your dance partners, Debbie. These guys are great. These guys are really cool. I got so excited like a little kid. So I'm really glad that I got to get one, because I love them. You're writing a book? Oh, yes. I'm rewriting the first book I had, and then I have to write the Star Wars book. So many of you have been on me to do it, and it's moving a little slow, but it is happening. But yes, a couple of books. Yeah. You guys said you like what I write, so okay. In 1978, my apartment was a Star Wars museum. It was just a lot of toys. It was a lot of toys. And I did the one thing that, you all do at some point and go, oh, why did I do that? Which was I had every figure from 1977 in their packages. And then they came out with the Darth Vader helmet where you could put them all in the slots, or the one that had Star Wars on the front where you could put them all in their little stands and name them. So you open the packages, which I did. I opened the packages. Ouch. That's number one. Ouch. If you're going to resell your collectibles. But then I had the Jawa in the plastic. You'd think that the Jawa in the cloth was the bigger earner, but the one in the plastic turned out to be the one that was worth about $5,000 if it's in its bubble from 1977. So, live and learn. Live and learn. We all get that. So there you go. Joe says a friend of mine on Facebook posted on YouTube video of the line at the Egyptian 1983 for Return of the Jedi and told the story about what a madhouse it was. Were you in that line, Terry? You never really talk about seeing Return of the Jedi compared with the first two films. I don't know if I was in the line. Yes, I think I was. I think I was in the line for that. It was different, though. It was definitely different. That became a very interesting thing because Return of the Jedi happened 2 weeks after it was called Revenge of the Jedi throughout its advertising. Revenge. And then it became Return of the Jedi. And George Lucas looked to destroy all the revenge posters. But if you had one, I had 3. You really could make some bank on those. If you still have it today, I think you could still make some bank on it, but I sold mine off to other people. I'll tell you, I had my Star Wars collection until 2007. And then the Screen Actors Guild, which I am a member of as a puppeteer and an actor, they had a very special group come and speak to any actor who had, things in their closet or in their little catches of collectible stuff. And this company called Profiles in History evaluated it. And I showed them 3 pieces of mine and told them I had a room full. And they invited me to come to their location in Beverly Hills and show them what I had. And so I did so, and I was only supposed to be there. They only allowed 2 hours, but once they saw my collection, they canceled everything else, and they spent a full day with me, and we cataloged everything because my collection had moved from inside my home into a garage, and I had nightmares of water damage or rat infestation or fire or whatever. And when you just have a collection and it's in boxes tucked away, it's time to get it to people who will love on it and care about it. And so I went with Profiles in History and what they did for me. And this is good if you have someone like Heritage Profiles, Van Eaton. They'll put it in a catalog. Now, I don't know if Van Eaton does a catalog. You guys will have to tell me if they do. I know they do one for the big auctions like Joel's that happened, what was it, last year, I think. but my collection was a good size, but it wasn't that big. And Profiles in History did a catalog, and inside that catalog is all my collection, or a major part of my collection. But I think all my collection is in there with the bids that they thought that it would go for, and it went for a lot more. And I took my husband to Japan for a month on the money. So we had a really good trip out of it. I'm thankful to Stars, but more importantly, it went to people who could display it properly. There's a few things at the is it called the oh Camp oh what is it called? Camp Obi-Wan Sand Suites thing? Yeah, he has something which I can tell you about later. But not now. But yes, he has one at that. And that was really fun because he came down to evaluate my collection, and I told him I had something he wasn't going to be able to refuse, and he kept saying, I have everything, and I was like, no, you don't. So it's a fun story. That will be in the book too. Yeah, it'd be cool. Then you can have Steven sign it and me if that happens. Maybe I can have a signing at his Obi-Wan place. I love it, Terry. You are talented and creative. I'm crazy too, right? Thank you, Debbie. That's really sweet. Just watched some Doctor Who from the 1970s. LOL. Are you in it, Mike? Honestly, the only effect in the original 1970 film that really needed fixing was the pan shot of Luke's land speeder after getting past the stormtroopers in Mos Eisley. I'm okay with that one shot fixed. Otherwise, the film is just fine, and it originally was. I don't know. I like it all the mistakes. I made a list because I had seen it 183 times, and people were asking me, well, what did you notice? And the things that I noticed are the things that I love. Joe, the final sequence when they get the medals and it's all cardboard cutouts for a lot of it because they were on a budget. I just love that. The sequence where they walk and I think they're walking around the ships on the rebel planet. It's flipped. Everything goes the opposite direction because they were actually coming in from one direction. George Lucas didn't like it, so he flipped the film. I love that. Sequences where the stormtroopers can't see, so they kick the little mouse droid. I love that. The stormtrooper who hits his head on the overhead door when he's coming in, and C-3PO says, oh no, all of this stuff that I noticed in the film is what I love. I love this about the film. I love seeing those little idiosyncrasies. Let's go back a little further to the original King Kong, 1933. I love the fact that when you watch King Kong, one of the first stop motion, I know there was others, but the one that seemed to change the lives of so many, another monumental film, like Star Wars is a monumental film. This original King Kong was a monumental film. And so this film, Kong's fur, like sparkles. It like does this. That's because the animators were touching the gorilla and moving him with their hands in stop motion. Click, 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 click. And they may not have thought to brush away. So that's why he shimmers a little bit when he moves. And it's cool. If you happen to be someone who has a DVD of it, you can slow it down. And the markers that they use to show where the animated puppet was and where it needs to go, a couple of them are in the shot. There are sequences where the wig is pulled off one of the natives because it catches on a basket while Kong is attacking. I love this stuff. I don't want you to pull it out. It's very special to me. It's cool. It's really cool. So that's why, honestly, Joe, I love all of the idiosyncrasies in Star Wars because I've come to love every single one of them. I'll come to love every single one of them. I love the idea that the land speeder was mirrors so that it looked like it was floating in space. There were mirrors under it. This was brilliant. Nowadays you just CG it, wouldn't you? So I really, really like those practical solutions. I love that. We did a lot with the Hensons. When we do the Muppets, we were doing a lot of camera cool stuff with Muppets, and then a lot of cool stuff when we did dinosaurs. A lot of it in camera stuff, Matt, cool stuff. because the technology wasn't there, so we did the best we could. You look at Flintstones, that's when CG was just coming in. And Mark DePee, who was the one who did a lot of the sequences in the first Jurassic Park using CG, he was just scratching the surface, which is why the dinosaur looks weird. You should have seen the cat. I was the puppeteer for the cat, and the cat looked so awful they cut it from the film because we just couldn't get him to do what we wanted him to do. It just wasn't working. And you do what you do. You do what you got to do with the technology you have at the time. Yeah, at the time. Yeah. Joe says, I need to talk to you about the despecialized editions. I think you're not familiar with that project. Maybe not. I'm a busy girl. Life is crazy here, and it's Monday. But yes, I'd love to hear. My mom is doing good. In fact, I'm going to see her tomorrow. I didn't get to see her last week because I was knee deep in charities. But I did give her a call and tell her I'd see her this week. So I'm going to see her this week and on Mother's Day. Kirk Thatcher is probably best known for being the punk rocker who flips off Captain Kirk in Star Wars. I don't think he flips him off, Joe. I think he turns the music louder, doesn't he? And then he gets the grip from Spock, which, interestingly enough, while I was working on Dinosaurs, the TV show, not the mama, Kurt brought Leonard Nimoy in to meet me. Well, I mean, he brought him in to see the show, but he made sure that he met me, and that was a dream come true because Spock was my favorite character. And getting to tell him why he meant so much to me, Terry, was a dream come true. Thank you, Kurt Thatcher. I love you a million times for that. May I suggest that it's not so much technology catching up as it is that with each stop motion and every subsequent development that was and still is technology, each advancement didn't exist without the previous step. So glad to see you at the May the 5th CHOC event. It was actually the 4th, my love, but that's okay. Maybe you were really tired. Poor Leslie. Leslie was a busy girl on the 4th, so maybe it felt like the 5th. Afterwards, I went to Disneyland and got to see a sea of lightsabers in Galaxy's Edge during the fireworks fun day. Yeah, it was the 4th. So you weren't tired. So I can't say why. But all I know is that as an artist, I designed some hitchhiking ghosts. They took me a long, long time to create because technology had not caught up yet. So I put them aside until it did and did. I agree, steps. But sometimes you cannot reach in far enough into the future to make it happen until the future and you catch up, i.e. Hatbox Ghost and the Bride. And that's the way I like seeing Disney advance. It's great to see that technology happen. Van Eaton does a catalog for every auction. The past weekend was Joel's second auction with Van Eaton. I didn't get to keep track of it, but I did visit the cool stuff at the gallery a week ago. Yeah, Leslie, that was a lot smaller, wasn't it, than the first one, which was like a shopping center, wasn't it? I mean, I saw that one. That was pretty fun. Yeah. I don't know where you put collections like that. I remember that's from Disneyland. That collection he said, was in a special basement. That was wonderful. Gosh, that was a good time, that one. Yeah. Is King Kong a cousin of the Disco Yeti on Mount Everest? No. Was that quick enough? No, Kurt, after turning his ghetto blaster up, flipped Shatner the bird. Oh, really? Okay. I guess I wasn't paying attention to that. I was so surprised it was Kurt Thatcher. The camera filming of The Empire Strikes Back were the same used in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, so the movements can be programmed to track the movements. Yes, the tracking movements were John Dykstra inventing it, and he talks at length of what it took to make it. But again, genius is as genius does. Go through that door and figure it out afterwards, right? Yes. Oh, hi, Mar. Hello. Writing the 5th was dumb. No, I actually wrote the 4th. Hey, I'm just teasing you, Leslie. I know you know what day it was. So don't let me get you on that one. Everyone, we have been on for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. Again, thank you for all you contributed to the CHOC and that 5,000 fundraiser and counting. As I said, I have about 20 pins left. And if you want one, all you do is go here and put $30 in, write pin in the message section, and then contact me at my email. If you forget this, go to terrihardin.com and you can find it. But first, go to CHOC, donate to CHOC, then send me your email via my email, and all will be well. Okay? Guys, it was such a pleasure. Let's see. Leslie just says that Joel's may not have been fewer, but it was smaller. Fun to reminisce about things you have. And Mike says, thanks to Gorge Lucas, was not as dumb as the BBC in the 1970s. The BBC turned a lot of Doctor Who from the 70s and not check if the film was any place else. Oh, I see what you're saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So let me just get back to where I was. I want to just hide that so that you're not being inundated by that. Not my intention, but definitely my intention. Thank you so much again, guys. It was so wonderful. I will see you Friday at the same time. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. If I have not demonstrated this about May the 4th, there's something wrong. I love you guys. Be good, be well, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye for now.